Hello, welcome to my channel, A Cup of Tea with Krista Joy. Today, I'm very excited to share with you some things about what I wish I had known about my tram flap surgery that I had. But first, if you're new here, welcome. I'm so excited that you came to hear what I have to say. I would also love for you to hit the subscribe button and make sure notifications, leave me a note, tell me what you think. But I'm very excited for you to be here. In the next few weeks, I will continue to share more about my breast cancer journey, more about my tram flap and its surgery, but also I'm so excited. I have next week, I have a favorite recipe of my family's that I'm going to share with you. So there we are. Today I am drinking from one of my cups that I got this summer. One of my best friends went to Disney World and she said, "This looks like your colors." And we both love tea. So in today's tea, this is super interesting. So in my first episode, I talked about my friend who lives in Thailand now, who loves tea just like me and always brings home some great tea for me. And today, I'm not trying. I love this tea. It's called burdock tea. If you don't know burdock, it is something that is in my yard. I do not like burdock. It looks like rhubarb. People think, "Oh, I have free rhubarb. Isn't this awesome?" It's probably not. It's burdock. It's got this horrid long root, and then it gets terrible burrs, and they're like this big, and they get everywhere. Awful. But I guess, I've never tried it. You can make tea out of the roots. So that might happen this summer too. But the tea is excellent. So I'm so glad you are here and hope that even if you haven't had hernia surgery or a tram flap surgery or anything like that, this really actually works for a lot of people who have abdominal surgery. But there's a lot of specific things about breast cancer too, and that option. So I hope you listen and enjoy and learn some things depending on what your situation is. So my situation is that when I had radiation after chemo and after my mastectomy, I had expanders put in. I had complications. And so I lost my expanders and lost most of my skin up here, and it was a horrid mangled mess. And they said there wasn't enough skin to put in expanders anymore. But my plastic surgeon said there is another option. It's called a deep flap or a tram flap. They're both two different kinds of surgeries that do something very similar. Basically, they take muscle and skin and nerves from your abdomen and move it up here. And it gets a really natural look, and it was really cool. So a little over a year after radiation and all those complications, I had the tram flap surgery. I don't know exactly, I wasn't weighing myself, but I'm pretty sure I was probably close to 200 pounds, maybe just under, when I had that surgery. And today I'm going to tell you 8 things that I wish I had known before and during my tram flap. So, first of all, do your research. I had been brought this information by my surgeon, and he said, "Yeah, this would be great. I do it a lot. Here's what happens. It is major surgery." He did tell me that. He told me that he would put the mesh in my stomach to hold myself in, but I wish I had done a little more research. And I hope that if you are considering tram flap, I know it happens and things go really well, but I wish I had known. I had found out later, after I had my complications, that about 40% of people currently have complications from the surgery. And that's a lot. And as a young mom, I think I had my tram flap when my youngest was in kindergarten. I wish I had known that. And at this point, I would have made a different decision. But I didn't know, and I was young. So There we go. So that's number one. Do your research. And number two is 40% of people have complications from this surgery. Number three thing I wish I had known was, though they give you binders for your stomach, it is absolutely invasive in an invasive surgery in your abdomen. And I wish I had known that those binders can really, really help you, and use them as often as possible. And it's funny how certain details you remember. I remember the first time they got me up out of the hospital bed to go and sit in the chair. It was the worst pain that I had had, and I did not want them to do that. And my husband was in the room, and he's like, "Oh, it was awful to experience that with you." He's like, "It was almost as bad as childbirth." The good thing, though, is I found out that if that pain and that experience actually made me go stronger, and it was better. So I trust the nurses. It was fine, but I was not expecting that at all. Also, I remember, so my surgery was the end of May, or middle of May, and I remember by October that I kind of stopped wearing the binders. And this brings me into my next thing for, I think that's for, pain there is not a normal thing. I was 4 months out. I should not have felt pain. I remember specifically laying in bed and turning over and feeling this pain in my abdomen, and I had to go to the point where I had to hold my abdomen to turn over in bed. That should have been my first clue. I did not make the connection that that's what that was. I thought it was just because I was overweight, but that is not normal, and I wish I had known that. So number 5 is you use your abs for everything. You use your abs to drive. You use your abs to get in and out of bed. Oh, I can't tell you how long it took me to get in and out of bed the normal way. In fact, I got to a point where I didn't know what that looked like. I literally had a step stool on the side of my bed, and I had knelt into the bed, and then I had to sit down. It took me a really long time. So having an invasive abdominal surgery like this can really, really just use your abs for everything, right? Okay. Number 6 is losing feeling in your nerves in those areas is normal. You can get it back, but probably not. So I'm sad that I have lost those nerves. It has been many years. I've had more surgeries after that, and so including the hernia one that I talked about last week. And so it is what it is. But I have to be aware of it, and I wish I had known that. I think maybe someone had told me, but not really. Next is when you have a tram flap or even the hernia repair or any kind of major hernia surgery, self-care is important, but also walking and moving your body. One of the differences between my tram flap and then my hernia surgery last year is after my tram flap, I did a lot of sitting, and I recovered a lot. And it was major surgery, but so was my hernia one. And so I had already been working out 6 days a week for about 8-9 months. And so I really wanted to get back into it, but I also wanted to be smart about it. So probably 2 weeks after, I started taking walks. I started with just a walk around my neighborhood. Then like the next week, I would kind of have incremental increases. So then the next week I would take a walk a little bit larger around my neighborhood till the point that I was able to get to a walk, about a half-hour walk. It wasn't very far, but I made sure I did that. And then I was really purposeful about what kind of workouts I did. I chose not to do any weights, and I actually did a dance cardio workout first, just to see, because I knew that I could easily modify that and stop when I needed to. And that was actually a really great option for exercise when I was recovering from that. And then the program that I was using had, it's an online one. They had one that had just come out that had like a weightlifting and cardio day, and then kind of a functional flow is what they call it day, and a kind of every other. And I thought that would be a great way to regain my strength and lightly get into weights. I did not use very heavy weights. And so it was not until really July. So I had my surgery in March, at the end of March, and I think it was really June and July that I started actually using weights. And I had the support from my surgeon. The last thing I want to say is, if you have abdominal surgery, specifically, I know about DEEP and Tram Flaps, but other abdominal surgeries, is find a support group if you're starting to hurt. Okay? So it wasn't quite a ways after my Tram Flap that I found on Facebook 2 support groups, people who had complications with it, and it just made a huge difference. And I was able to actually gain research about how the fix would happen. My surgeon had done lots of hernia surgeries, but never one mine severe. If you remember, I had said that. And so we decided I would give him all the information that I could to help him do the surgery as best as possible. And I think that was a really great option. He was very receptive to it, so I appreciated that. And it was really good. But it was key for me to have those support groups so that I could ask questions, read up on other people. It was a Facebook group, so there were files in there that I downloaded and sent to my surgeon. It was really fantastic. So all in all, I wish I had not done the Tram Flap, mostly just because of the complications. I'm pleased with how it looks. I am more than pleased on how my surgery went to repair my hernias. And it still doesn't look pretty, but that's okay, right? That's what plastic surgeons are for later. But there are a lot of things that now, if I had known, maybe I would have made different decisions. Or when I started feeling the pain, that 4 or 5 months later, I wish I had done something about it sooner. So next time I will be sharing a favorite recipe of my family's. I'm so excited. It is so yummy. And I hope that you have a great day and have a cup of tea. Till next time.